Good day, everyone. I'm Komathan. I'm going to present for my INE 504 project, and my topics will be on solar cell. So, for the journal list, I have chosen three journals related to solar cell. The first one is on the layer by layer spray coating of stacked peroxide absorber for peroxide solar cell with better performance and stability under humid environment. Second one is on colloidal quantum dot solar cell, and third one is spectroscopic insights into high defect tolerance of zinc and quantum dot sanitized solar cell. Okay, for the journal one, which I've explained the title just now, I will give you the executive summary. So, peroxide is an emerging material for high performance solar cell application, and it is also low cost. As an ink, peroxide composition can be easily modified into and create a semi transparent solar cell for window replacement. This enable large scale production. Spray process is one of the major candidates to apply this peroxide on solar cell. Sequential spray deposition, or SSD, has been developed to create double layer absorbers from different dimensional peroxide. SSD perform under a humid environment, which is 40 to 50% RH, brings about better film stability and retain good performance of 3D peroxide. Sequential spray deposition opens new routes for various stacking designs and large-scale production under economical ambient condition. Okay, we go to the research methodology on how to produce this. First, fluorine doped tin oxide coated glass substrate were cleaned by ultrasonic and soaked in isopropanol overnight before dry with blowing N2 gas and treated with UV ozone cleaner to just clean it. And then TiO2 solution was prepared and concentrated hydrochloric acid is added. Solution was stirred at room temperature and then spin coated on FTO substrate. Substrate were heated and soaked with TiCl4 solution before washed with distilled water and dried with N2 gas. Lastly, the substrate were annealed on hot plate at 520 degrees Celsius for 2 hours. Okay, this was at one side preparation, and then we at the same time we also need to prepare the dimensional mixed halide peroxide. So the peroxide which is gonna spray, so we have to mix it separately. Now we have substrate, just what I explained. Then now we have peroxide. Then after that, this substrate were preheated prior to spray coating. So we're now gonna spray coat this onto the substrate. And then after depositing the first layer, the film was heated at 100 degrees Celsius for 30 seconds to dry out, and then the double layer film was then annealed. So annealing process is also required for 100 degrees Celsius in 20 minutes. Finally, the film was left to oxidize in desiccator overnight, and then this is completely done. So we have already spray coated these layers on the substrate. So after that we can study the characterization like surface morphologies, optical absorption, spectra, and crystal structure, and photoluminescence also can be recorded. Okay, so we have seen the methodology. So now we look at the results and discussion. So the results, if you see, and the A is showing the box plot of single layer, and then N1 is double layer, and N50 is no spray coating, which is a comparison. So if you can see the first two box plots, right? So the efficiency is higher. So it's higher compared to the other two. This is higher compared to the other one. And then for B, shows the JSC, VOC, and this is the fill factor. So for the peroxide cell, so we can see that we have observed slight improvement in average PCE from 2.26 for N1 to 2.70 for N150 with lower standard deviation. So the standard deviation is very low, that means the process is very stable. So the similar performance is expected as the majority of double layer peroxide in N1. So higher JC and FF be related to the reduction of surface recombination due to the surface passivation. So here we expect that the gaps, the pores are really filled well, and then then due to that we have really low surface recombination. Okay, that was for journal 1 and journal 2, which is a colloidal quantum dot solar cell. So the executive summary will be: in recent years, colloidal quantum dot solar cell have been the subject of extensive research. A promising alternative to existing silicon solar cell, quantum dot solar cell are among the candidates for next generation photovoltaic devices. Colloidal quantum dots are attractive in photovoltaic research due to their solution processability, which is useful for their integration. Previously unachievable with bulk semiconductors, QD can make it possible and allow energy level matching between desired donor and acceptor material, which is crucial in designing efficient photovoltaic devices. Moreover, QDs can be a solution process, could be an alternative to commonly employed. Okay, here we do not have a solid research methodology. Here we have different types of colloidal quantum dot solar cell, and it's a little bit explanation because this article is not going to talk about on particular what is being developed, but it's just comparing about six various colloidal quantum dot solar cell. So Schottky solar cell, depleted heterojunction, extremely thin absorber, inorganic heterojunction, bulk heterojunction, quantum dot sensitized solar cell. So these are the six comparison. For Schottky solar cell, spray coating or inject printing from solution phase and thin layer of absorber QD is required. We just need a very thin layer of QD, and then Schottky favors extraction of electrons while presenting a barrier for hole withdrawal. Whereas depleted heterojunction, which is depleted means it has been becoming thin, consists of QD layer sandwiched between electron transporting layer. So it been sandwiched in between P and N layer. Electron flow towards TiO2 layer, then evaporated metal contact, creating inverted polarity. And for the extremely thin absorber, this is even thinner than the depleted heterojunction. This one can be produced by successive ion layer adsorption and reaction, consisting intrinsic layer between transport layers. And inorganic organic heterojunction, this one is complete pore by TiO2, whole transforming and polymers permeates pores of QD, changing morphology of metal oxides, find optimum pore size. Bulk heterojunction, the bigger one, is composed of electron donating conjugating polymers and electron accepting fullerenes. The performance of these cells can be improved with conversion. Quantum dot sensitized solar cell. Upon illumination of the QD sensitizers absorb incident light, causes excitation of electron. So this is just like when there is an incident light, these electrons will be excited, and electrons injected to TiO2 porous electrode, resulting oxidation, the QD photosensitizer. So figure A shows typical current voltage and capacitance and voltage curves from Schottky cell. So figure B, the carrier concentration is calculated to be 7 times 10 to the power of negative 16, one of the actively studied material in Schottky. So you can see the difference in A and B, where the A is more efficient. Whereas figure B is typical of depleted heterojunction. This is the one that we discussed earlier. The photovoltaic cell architecture is in consists of QD layers sandwiched between the positive and negative. And in such kind of structure, electrons flow toward the TiO2 layer rather than the evaporated metal contact. And the third one is, you can see the scheme of ETA solar cell, band structure ETA solar cell, showing the quasi Fermi level and in the electron and hole conductor. The difference between these two levels determines the photovoltage. The conduction band and valence band, the ultra thin EC and EV between the electron and hole conductor should be in order. So this is for the ultra thin, and then the other one is the energy diagram and schematic configuration of inorganic and organic device. So you can see that this device, inorganic and organic, it has a different absorption spectra, P3HT, and then Sb2, S3 deposited for various deposition times. So these are, one is organic, another one is inorganic. And the fifth one is the bulk heterojunction device. So you can see the energy diagram of typical device architecture in the picture. Same image for a composite is also given. And finally, the sensitized TiO2 electron. So various path, if you look at the picture, for electrons are shown with arrows. So various path, this electron can actually go into the various path. And then the energy diagram showing that the path excited electrons to the surface or transfer to oxidized species. An energy diagram showing the recombination of excited electrons of TiO2 with holes at surface. So once the incident light hit, then the recombination immediately will happen or transfer to oxidized species. Okay, for journal 3, which is a spectroscopic insights into high defect tolerance of zinc quantum dot sensitized solar cell. Okay, colloidal semiconductor quantum dots are promising materials for realizing high performance liquid junction photovoltaic cell. So solar cell based on, earlier we look at the colloidal quantum dot, now we're going to look into a little bit detail on that material itself, which is zinc, and then show high efficiency despite of larger abundance of native defects. So just to make audience clearer, so my article 2 and 3 both talks about quantum dot cells. So for the first one, we talk about how does the quantum dot cell we are making, and the third article we will go a little bit deeper into the type of this quantum dot, and then to elucidate the reasons, side by side photovoltaic and spectroscopic studies was conducted. Surface modification have surprisingly little effect on photovoltaic performance. That means that they're trying to say that in this study they have made some modification on the surface, so longer, smaller, and so once they change this, they see whether there is any effect or not. Okay, so identified as trapping defects mediate QD interaction with the TiO2 electrode and the electrolyte respectively, and help achieve consist of photovoltaic performance with 85% photon to electron conversion. So research methodology. So here we see zinc QD synthesized using modified literature approach with tetrahedral shape. The QDs are copper deficient and kept with long OAM ligands. Ligands means it's like additional bonds which is attached to the metal. So here the word ligand is very important because we're going to study about three different ligands as a comparison. So second one is to add two additional samples prepared. So OAM is one type of ligand, and beside that another two additional, which is HT, uh, is prepared. And in other sample, QDs recap with biofunctional of 3 mercaptrophionic acids. So mercaptrophionic acid and HT is the other two samples that we prepared. So if you look at the next, what we're going to do is to prepare photoelectric electron with these three things that I have mentioned earlier, the three ligands. We observe that the QD incorporation into the electrode, however, it occurs much faster than the OAM, which is a direct consequences. So three types of these are distinct. These three ligands are distinct in the length, electrostatic behaviors, binding groups. So large length should hinder the QD incorporation. So the quantum dot incorporation should be hindered by the large length, which is OAM, and then shorter length of HT and MPa molecules expected to allow for more complete filling of the electrode for space and thus enhance light harvesting. So following the incorporation, QDs cannot be removed from the film by washing with CHLA3, and indicating that the dots are tightly bound to the TiO2 surface. Since both ligands contain only one functional group which is already coordinated, they cannot anchor the dot to electrode. So instead, due to their liability, some of these L-type ligands are removed during the deposition process. This bonding is facilitated by the high affinity of the surface oxygen atoms of TiO2 to uncoordinated metal atoms. So the results and discussion, if you see there is three diagrams, and then A, so the PL means photoluminescence dynamics of MPA, capped QDs incorporated into mesophorous TiO2 film, and then PL decays by 20% during the first 20 nanosecond. So you can see the decay is quite fast, and this is in sharp contrast to the 90% drop of the sample PL signal during the first 2 nanoseconds in the case of QD TiO2 sample. So you can compare the MPA and QD TiO2 sample. The drop is 90% at 20 nanosecond. Another one is just 10% for the in 2 nanoseconds. For B, a similar comparison between the solution of the HT. So first we compare the MPA, then the second one is HT. So a small difference in the PL dynamics. So there is not huge difference. In particular, both samples show a similar drop in PL intensity on the time scale of 20 nanosecond. This indicates that um, in both cases, PL dynamics are dominated by electron trapping at QD related intragap defects. A small difference in time constant of slower photoluminescent competent is due to the fairly slow QD. So the third one is the comparison of OOM. So the photoluminescent dynamics of the solution and film samples of OOM capped QDs are qualitatively similar to those of HT capped QDs. They show that in both samples, PL decay is dominated by QD related trapping. So we can see that in this, right? So the QD related trapping is what is dominating the decay, and a weak signature of slow electron transfer with the same constant for 23 nanoseconds. So for the overall comparison of these three researchers, right? So the researchers are completely new, where no such methods has been commercialized so far. So all the ideas are new and viable, and it's actually can be useful for those who would like to venture more into the solar cell. So more feasibility studies on a big scales need to run in order to make it into mass production, because what they have shown is in the lab scale, and not much variations has been given. So the method used in the first paper is rather existing. We know that spray coating is an existing process, it's nothing new to the industry, so it's an established process. So the idea of them using this spray coating to create additional layer of peroxide on top of the solar cell is good, because it's quite commercial, not much effort or research and development needed on spray coating. Whereas the other two papers on colloidal quantum dot is basically comparison on different ligands. The last one we talk about that three types of ligands and how does this behave, and the other one is discussing on the different defect structure of the PCE, and these are merely a dimension to understand the impact of this to the solar cell. So we can only take this as a reference for future studies. There's nothing created out of this. The study itself is a novel, but the outcome is just for a knowledge, and with that outcome we can come up with something depending on our interest field. So the overall conclusion, so layer by layer spray coating of stacked peroxide. So with the aim of scalable peroxide process, we developed sequential spray deposition, which for the first time allows layer by layer peroxide deposition to create multi-layer peroxide absorber. Choosing semi-transparent peroxide system to demonstrate SSD, we deposited mixed halide quasi 2D peroxide, uh, combing the stability of the layered system and the performance of 3D. Um, The second one is colloidal quantum dot cell. Here we reviewed the recent advances in utilizing colloidal quantum dots as light harvesters in various types of photovoltaic devices. So we can see ultra thin, we have seen bulk. So at present, the power conversion efficiencies of colloidal quantum dot cell are about 5%. Further researches is needed. As I said earlier, this is just a base or fundamental, and further researches is needed in this area to screen potential systems which could provide roadmap for the design of super efficient solar cell. So development of high performance photovoltaic cells will necessitate the use of high quality nanocrystal material, and well-ordered semiconductor nanoparticles in photovoltaic cells are thought to bring major breakthrough in this field. So this study, the research in the colloidal quantum cell, is just a fundamental for us to explore further into this field. And the third one is the spectroscopic insight. This is the ligands that I was talking about. So the conductor study demonstrated the primary performance limiting the particular QD, which is the zinc based, is mesoporous TiO2 electrode rather than the intragap defects. So the one which is actually impacting factor is the mesoporous TiO2 electrode rather than the intragap defects which is exist. So which do not inhibit but likely rather assist in both electron transfer. So the non-linking monofunctional ligands exhibiting low photoluminescence QI due to a large abundance of the surface defects. And the good PV performance of this structure is derived from a defect mediated photoconversion mechanism. In addition to good PV characteristics, zinc-based QD are completely free of highly toxic heavy metals. So as we know, as we heard that a lot of solar companies are using cadmium kind of thing. So this is some novelty on this zinc-based QD which can further improve, and this is also into this is future efforts need to put into this to turn it to a commercially viable technology. Okay, summary from my side. So the journal that I found interesting among all these three layers are spray coating of peroxide. The reason is, like as we know, the current challenge is to get higher efficiency. Solar cell lower cost. Peroxide has proven. So peroxide has already proven that it can give higher 10 to 12% higher efficiency for this solar cell, and they are now mixing this multi-layer peroxide spray coating, and what is the method they choose here is spray coating. So for the spray coating itself, I have a special interest because this process is established even in our company. We are using spray coating, so I know how this process works, and this is commercial, and this can be used for high volume manufacturing. So that's why I think that this study on peroxide can be applied easily on the substrate via spray coating and become easy attempt to increase the solar cell efficiency. For me, I think this is a very viable method, and this solution is quite simple, and it's also cost effective and manufacturable in high volume. So in all aspect, I find this research interests me to commercialize this uh, solar cell to get high efficiency. Thank you.